Hey, video diary. So, I had a very bad few days. I think it's a couple of things. And one is that I got this cold, which made me have to stop, my regular schedule, which includes going to work. Um, I do, 100 or 2 push-ups and squats and jumps and all that shit every day. So I haven't done that. I haven't been using my drugs, which is cannabis oil and some beer. Last week I drank almost every day and hid some of that. And some of that drinking was just a single beer at night, but I actually had to make myself not drink a day here, a day there, which is just weird. How easily we can just slip back into that. And there's that experience of having a beer after not even remembering what a beer was and being really sore and having incredibly spicy food and, baboom. But this isn't that. This is trying to knock out my emotions. And I need that sometimes because it's too much. It's too much. But that is weird that I would become, dependent on alcohol just to get me not thinking, keep me not thinking about what this is. What this is. What is this? Is this just me being, unwilling to accept the circumstances and that's it, just unwilling to accept the circumstances. I accept what has happened only because it's happened. I guess I've been withholding my forgiveness. Yeah. And it's triggered a lot of memories I have about my father, who died when I was 13, and I never processed it. And I hated him I still do, love and hate. And it's like love/hate, it's like they're equal. And it's never changed, I've done all kinds of, I guess I've been in therapy a few times in my life for one thing or another. But as I expressed to my mom yesterday that I don't think my mom would have thought it was okay to sexually abuse kids. Of course not. I say, of course not, but why would my father think it was okay? And I'm saying that he thought it was okay because he did it. Let's not equivocate. If you do something, you think it's okay. You accept it as an okay thing to do. And you should accept the circumstances and the recriminations and the and the fallout from that. I don't think I can forgive my father. How much of that has created an environment in me of struggle, Yeah, that's what I always hear. It's like it's not about them. It's about you, like how are you going to let this destroy your life or degrade your relationships and all that stuff. I have experienced along the way times when, particularly with men who have lied or lied, in business, something like that, and I've cut them out. But I did it with a type of anger that is reminiscent of the anger that I have towards my father. So I see a connection between my personality, whatever that is, and a collection of behaviors and likes, dislikes, predispositions, temperament, your personality, which can change, by the way. You think you're you, but one little car accident or skateboard accident where you hit your head, you're not you anymore. You've changed. You's up here in the brain, or at least your personality is. I told you that I had that crazy experience of astral projection type of experience, where I sat up in my bed after my dad died. I heard his typing. He would type late at night, and I would always get up and bring him some tea. And that's the other thing with my dad, excuse me. Everyone hated him in the household because he was an asshole, but me. I defended him. And he just turned out to be an asshole. With his own demons and all that stuff. But it's not like I know what they are or he made any attempt to respect the next generation. He didn't. So I have no respect for him. And caught up in his religiosity. I was raised so heavily indoctrinated by medieval Christianity. It's looking back on it now, I think of it as my history, but as my wife pointed out to me, like it wasn't normal, and it was abusive, straight up child abuse. I think it's really wrong to indoctrinate children, because if something is true, you shouldn't have need to do that. So if you're pushing something on somebody, a belief system or a belief system, something that requires faith, which means pretending to know something that you don't know, right? I pretend to believe this X because I'm told to. Because I'm told that by doing so, I'm more noble or more, spiritual or more, devout. It's stupid. It's really stupid stuff. And I know people sometimes will get offended by having their most precious belief system reduced to me, who you don't know, saying a word like stupid. But growing up with it, seeing the results of it, listening to its inability to defend its position, recognizing most of it is supernaturalism imposed upon fertility religion, life and death, rebirth kind of stuff. It's from a distance I can see it, but when you're in it, you can't see it. You just think that you're you're doing great. You're doing the right thing. You're praying for a parking space or to go to heaven so you don't have to die, really, you know. I think that's what it is we all fear death. And most of the time, we just want something. I would love to believe I would see Forrest again in some sunny valley. But it would be a violation of what it is to be human, to believe such a thing. And a waste of the short time that we have. I was also thinking of, I saw a comedian, might have been Mel Brooks. He was doing something that was really funny. And I was thinking, like, yeah, he was born with a funny bone, but he got to develop all his life. And I think he's passed away. That was for here, you know. I don't know if he goes into the afterlife as Mel Brooks, or does he go into the afterlife as just another, you know, fuzz of energy ready to join the cosmos. Never left the cosmos, just individuated while it was here. I don't know, and neither do you. And I think that's the point. Don't listen to ministers or preachers or imams or rabbis. Don't listen to those people, because although they're going to couch what they're saying with a lot of really good advice about how to practically live your life or, you know, do things in a good way, you could get to those principles without supernaturalism, projection, lies, control, manipulation. And when I look back at the religious people I met, I really did not get any good advice from them. You know, nothing I didn't already know just by going, you know. Should I pet the snake or should I, you know, let it crawl by? And our families put so much pressure on us. Our tribes put so much pressure on us to conform, you know, to become what they need us to be. And of course, I'm looking into that mirror going, how much pressure did I put on my son to conform and become something for me that he didn't want for himself? I didn't batter him with my insistence of think like I do, but it was there. It's there. I mean, I am a proselytizer in some way, you know. I've been saying things in audiences, you know, from the stage for years. I haven't performed as my own type of performer for a while, and I don't know if I will again. Because of the identity thing, like I realized, like I don't care anymore. There's just so much apathy. So much about what I was doing was to share with my son. Maybe too much, you know. But I guess when you have somebody calling you saying, hey, check out this move, or, you know, look at this, you know, bebop scale or whatever it is, and you believe you're on the same page or have things in common. My brother suggested to me that my standards are too high, you know, like for Forrest's behavior. At what point should we accept somebody using heroin? You know, at what point does your son or daughter or lover or brother or sister, whoever, I don't think it can happen. I think that standard is I don't know if that is that a standard? I didn't want my son to kill himself with heroin. I don't want anybody to. And like I said, I've always loved getting high, I don't want to claim not to know about that or pretend that that's not a human impulse. I'm sure the first of us were eating rotten fruit off the ground. The first time I got drunk, I was maybe 10 years old. And my mom had a party and she made sangria and the fruit was in the fridge. And I just noticed, because you take the fruit out of it largely. And me and my brother were like eating, those things. And 30 minutes later, we were wondering why we were like laughing our asses off and like falling off the beds. And, several hours after that, we were throwing up and not feeling so well. So, these things have a truth value which requires intelligent assessment. And that's why I say, like, using drugs are stupid. They're for the stupid you. Because how's it going to work? How's it going to work? How are you going to get up the next day? You're not going to have you can't play normal life. And then you live parallel, right? You tie your canoe to normal life and you let it drag you until someone notices or you shit the bed and and then you're in fuck it zone, right? Where you're like, fuck it. I'm a junkie. I'm not going to admit that I'm a junkie, which is why I keep saying to people, like, if you use junk, you're a junkie. I don't care if you're from Connecticut or you're from Watts, you're a fucking junkie and a victimizer of your family and society. And, my mom kept pointing out that Forrest victimized himself, that he lied to himself. Does that mean that he didn't lie to us and victimize all of us as well? How is it something I can forgive? How can I forgive? It's not my job to forgive him. Only in the sense that it is ruining my life. This sorrow, this heartbreak, this shame, this disgust, this hatred, this love, this anger. Only in that sense can I say, oh, I forgive because I have to have. That's not forgiveness. That's self-interest. I have to do this because I'm going to give myself, high blood pressure or heart attack or whatever people do, whatever, can happen. And I'm not going to say I'm afraid of that, but I'm aware that the level of grief that I'm experiencing sometimes is debilitating. And when I look into that at resources, I see help in the sense that you can just reposition yourself out of it, but it doesn't take into account the truth value. Like, forgiving my father doesn't make him any less of an asshole. And that's what he was. He was a fucking asshole. Forrest was not, although sometimes I will refer to him that way. Forrest was awesome. So it it's it's weird. Yeah, so is it really forgiveness when you forgive somebody so that you can move on with your life and feel better and not make yourself sick? I say no, it's not. It's it's just getting yourself free of the type of emotions that are will injure you, but they're not. It's not about truth, and that's what's been gnawing at me. He really let me down. That's hard to deal with because I'm alone, because I don't have him. And because he was better than this. He was better than this bullshit. If you're using drugs like this, I said that you deserve to die. If you buy into this, you deserve to die. It's deeper than that. If you buy into this, you're dead. You're doing the dead thing already. You're dead. You just haven't gotten to that event yet. And you're poisoning and killing the innocent in your family. And more and deeper than that, the tender center, the part of us which loves, which is protected and loves, some deep part in there. You're killing and damaging and poisoning that. So maybe junkies need to reflect a bit upon this and not just think selfishly about their own, I feel like I have the flu when I'm detoxing, so I have the flu. It's the worst flu that you could have. So what? It won't kill you. Go detox. You fucking idiot. Go detox today. Figure it out. And don't do it for you. Do it for everything and everyone else. Forget about you. You don't matter. You're replaceable. We're all replaceable. I told my mom that the reason I didn't go off into drugs and falsities like that, and also cultish religions I mentioned a bit about the different ones that had tried to, that actually preyed upon me in my past, but is for them, for my family, for my kids, for my own self-respect. I just didn't want to be, the heartbreak of the tribe. And what's the point of that? Yeah, I know it changes your thinking. So change your thinking. Again, change it to something even better. You don't have to go back to who you were. Continue on to something that contains the knowledge that you learned from heroin. Is there anything there that you learned? Well, you can take that with you. Is it just to get high and be in sort of piss land? Then fuck you, Then that's when I was saying, then fuck you. Because all you're doing is saying that to everyone else.